"There's a secret room behind the display case," the black girl whispered. The billionaire was shocked. It started with a whisper, not the kind that fades into air, but the kind that anchors itself inside your mind and refuses to leave. "There's a secret room behind the display case," she said, and then she smiled. A slow, deliberate smile, like she already knew I would go looking for it. Her voice was calm, but her eyes, they carried that strange blend of pity and precision, the look of someone who's seen too much and has chosen to say just enough. That night I didn't sleep. The rain pressed itself against the glass walls of my penthouse, soft, rhythmic, patient. Below, the city hummed in its sleepless ache. Money never rests, neither does guilt. I poured myself a drink I didn't need, and I watched my reflection tremble in the amber blur of the glass. Behind me, the display case stood tall, mahogany, immaculate, expensive enough to feel irrelevant. Inside it, awards, watches, art pieces I didn't even remember buying. Her words echoed again. A secret room. It sounded absurd. I had owned this house for years. I had built it from sketches and desire. There was no secret room. And yet, the way she said it, not as speculation, but as confession. By morning, the whisper had become a pulse. I couldn't focus on the meeting, or the numbers, or the endless voices begging for my signature. Her name was Alina. I had hired her 6 months ago, a quiet, watchful girl who never lingered when others spoke. She carried herself like someone used to being invisible, but her silence was never weak. It was sharp, unapologetic, like she knew something the rest of us had forgotten. She worked in the art wing, the gallery attached to my residence. It was more of an indulgence than a collection, a place where I displayed things that meant nothing so people would assume they did. That was where she whispered it. That was where everything started to uncoil. I returned that evening. The house was too quiet. Even my own footsteps sounded intrusive. The display case stood at the far end of the corridor, lit by soft yellow light. Its glass reflected everything except truth. I touched the frame. It felt colder than usual. And for the first time, I noticed the slightest shift in shadow behind the right panel, something uneven, something concealed. I pressed. Nothing. I pressed again, lower, near the base. A click, barely audible. The panel moved. Only an inch, but enough. Enough for me to feel the breath of hidden air. There was a narrow gap. Behind it, darkness. The kind that doesn't belong in a home. The kind that feels older than walls. My hand hesitated in front of it. A strange chill crawled beneath my sleeve. Then, a faint scent, old wood, dust, and something else. Perfume. Familiar. Alina's. I stood there for a long time. The city outside whispered like a distant secret. I should have walked away. But curiosity is a gentle executioner. It doesn't force you, it seduces you. So I stepped inside. The air was thick. My breath felt too loud. The narrow passage led to a small door, unpainted, unmarked. When I turned the knob, it resisted, then gave in. And there it was, a hidden room, small, perfectly square, lit by a single lamp, the kind that hums faintly. And on the wall, dozens of photographs of me, some from meetings, some from my office, some from the house, all taken without my knowledge. Each one pinned precisely, each one dated. At the center of the collage, a single Polaroid, Me, sitting in the same room, at the same desk, from the same angle. Taken, now. I turned slowly. She was standing behind me, Alina. Her expression was unreadable, somewhere between apology and satisfaction. "You found it," she said softly. I didn't answer. She stepped closer, her shadow cutting into mine. "I told you there was a room," she continued. "You just didn't believe me." Her tone was calm, too calm, the kind of calm people use when they've already won. "What is this?" I asked. She tilted her head. "A memory," she said, "of things you like to forget." I laughed. It came out wrong, sharp, defensive. "Are you blackmailing me?" "No," she said. Her voice was too clean for lies. "I'm reminding you." "Of what?" She looked around the room, at how you built everything on silence. Her words hit something raw, something I thought I'd buried beneath success, beneath noise. Because she was right. Every deal, every partnership, every lover, all bought silence, all bought compliance. And yet, somehow, she had slipped through. "How long?" I asked. "Since the beginning." Her gaze didn't waver. "You brought me here because you needed someone who wouldn't talk." You just never thought silence could speak back. For a moment, neither of us moved. The lamp flickered. The air thickened with unspoken history. I should have been angry, but I wasn't. I was fascinated. There was something hauntingly deliberate about her calm, like she was orchestrating my realization in real time. "Why now?" I whispered. She smiled faintly. "Because you finally looked." The next few days blurred. I tried to carry on. Meetings, decisions, the same faces pretending to respect me. But something had shifted. Every reflection felt tainted. Every silence felt observed. Alina still worked as if nothing happened. Still quiet, still distant. But now, every time she passed me, I felt that same unease, as if the walls were still listening. I started to wonder if the room was truly hidden, or if it was me who'd been living behind glass. One night I returned again. The room was gone. The panel wouldn't move. The latch, the air, the shadow, all gone. I pressed harder, desperate. Nothing. It was as if it never existed. Only the faint scent of her perfume remained, haunting the frame. The next morning, Alina resigned. Her letter was short. No explanation, no goodbye. Just a single line. "You only see what you can own." I should have let her go, but something inside me refused. I needed to know. What was the point? What was she showing me? Or worse, what was she hiding? I went through the security logs, cameras, keys, access codes, everything clean, too clean, almost as if someone had erased themselves. I called my assistant, told her to find Alina. Within a day, she sent me a single address, an old art studio, abandoned years ago, registered under Alina's mother's name. I drove there myself. No security, no chauffeur, no mask. Just me, the man who owned everything, chasing a ghost. The building smelled like rain-soaked brick and old paint. Light cut through the cracked windows in tired patterns. There were canvases everywhere, faces I recognized, people from my past, business partners, ex-lovers, even my father, all painted in surreal fragments, mouths blurred, eyes sharp, hands reaching for nothing. And in the center, a single unfinished portrait, me, half of my face detailed to perfection, the other half erased. There was a note pinned to the easel, one sentence, "Now you can see." I stood there for a long time, trying to understand if it was revenge or revelation, if she wanted to destroy me or awaken me. It didn't matter, because either way, she succeeded. I sold the penthouse. I shut down the gallery. The display case was dismantled, but even in absence, it haunted me. Sometimes, late at night, I hear that faint click, the sound of a door that was never supposed to exist. And I think about her silence, about how she made me look at the world she hid behind. Maybe the room was never real. Maybe it was a mirror, a reflection of everything I refused to confront. The lies, the greed, the emptiness beneath wealth. Maybe she built that secret not in wood or glass, but in me. I still remember the last thing she said before she disappeared, not in words, but in her eyes. That calm, quiet look, the kind that tells you the story isn't over, it's only waiting for you to listen. Now, when I walk through my new house, there are no display cases, no art, no proof of who I was, just silence. And in that silence, I finally hear the truth. Not the truth she showed me, but the one she left me to find. That the richest men are never robbed by thieves. They are emptied by the echoes of their own secrets. And sometimes, when I close my eyes, I still hear her whisper, low, deliberate, certain. There's a secret room